When I say the word travel, I'm sure most people in this room will start thinking leisure, recreation, basically a break from the routine of everyday life. For some people, though, travel is their life and their way of making a living. I'm one of these people, and vacationing has become my vocation. Now, I'm not here today to talk about how exactly I've made that happen, but if I had to sum it up in 5 words, it would be this: don't make it about you. I wish that someone had stressed this to me sooner, because when you align your goals, your determinations, and your dreams with something bigger than just yourself, not only do you expand your life as a person and your capacity and your capabilities, but you expand the opportunities that become available to you in more ways than you can ever imagine sitting in this room today. It was only when I really started to ask myself, what value can I create to the world from my traveling, that not only did I start getting jobs that allowed me to sustain this traveling lifestyle, but also allowed me to get the kind of jobs that required travel as part of the job description. Now, of course, none of this happened overnight. I've been traveling pretty much throughout my entire 20s, and maybe that sounds ideal to some of you in this room, but it hasn't come without its own challenges. I've had to make a lot of difficult decisions, and there's been a few compromises along the way. But if the last 9 years have taught me anything, it's that traveling will definitely burst a few bubbles, and it will really humble you. Treading the globe has left me with so many amazing memories, of course, but more importantly to me, it's left me with such a deep admiration, appreciation, and love for people. It's given me the opportunity for so many personal learnings. And I would say, above all, it's given me so many questions. And one of these questions is this: what does freedom mean? And this is what I'm here to talk about today. I guess it would only be right to start by answering this question myself. So up until now, freedom for me has meant basically being able to go wherever I want, whenever I want. And luckily for me, I've had people in my life who've really encouraged and supported me to live in this way. Even my mum, she's not always so thrilled or comfortable with the idea of her daughter being alone somewhere in the world. She's never actually tried to discourage me or stop me in any way. I personally feel very fortunate that I've been able to live my idea of freedom. Now, I began traveling when I was 21, but my journey started a few years before this. I was halfway through grade 12, barely 17 years old, when I decided that I've had enough of schooling, of education. I want to start working. More specifically, though, I wanted to start earning my own money. So that's what I did. I quit my college and I entered the world of work. And from there on, I did many different minimum wage jobs in retail, fashion, banking. Some days I was working a 9 to 5, I would finish, and then I would go straight to a night shift. I did this until I had saved up enough money for a 6-month backpacking trip to Australia. That was 8 years ago now, and just the start of my adventure. For the first few years after that, my life went something like this. I would work, then I would save up as much money as I could, and then I would spend it all on a trip, and then I'd come back and I'd do the same thing again. And this way of living has led me to go to 27 different countries. Some of my most memorable trips have been trekking to Everest Base Camp in Nepal, train hopping across Japan and visiting Hello Kitty World, which was my 7-year-old self absolute dream, and traveling to Iceland to take part in a half marathon under the midnight sun. I love to travel solo, actually. That's my preference. So most of the times I'm alone on these trips. But in 2016, life took an unexpected turn for me. I had booked a trip to the next country that was on my list, India. And after coming here for 3 months and really falling in love with the country, it's been 3 years now and I'm still here. I spent about a year in total traveling across the country, trekking across the mountains in the north, exploring the palaces and the forts of Rajasthan, and enjoying the food, the smiles, and the beaches in the south. It's been an incredible experience and one that I hope will continue for many more years to come. But now back to the purpose of my talk and a story that really kick-started this project that I'm going to be talking about. So it's 2017, and I was on my way to the Valley of Flowers. I met two girls in the back of an auto rickshaw. They saw me sitting there with all my bags, and they said, "What are you doing?" And I just said, "I'm going off to do some trekking." They asked me why. And I didn't really have any real reason other than this is what I love to do, so this is what I'm doing. And then they asked me, "What do you do for a living?" And I didn't really have, then I said, this is what I do. And I could see in their face how astonished they were at this. And I remember one of the girls saying to me, "Wow, you live so free. You must be having so much freedom. You have so much freedom." This is something that I hear very often from women, especially young women who I meet on the road. And I always had in my head that this life that I live is everyone's real aspiration, that this is what freedom means for everyone. So with this mindset, I would always take these opportunities to encourage them, to tell them, you can have this lifestyle as well. It's not that difficult. And I would back this up by saying there's been a 143% rise in solo travel in the last 3 years. So surely that may clear up any doubts that it's dangerous or difficult. But my personal favorite one is that you can be just like me too. But I no longer say any of these things, and I'll tell you why. When I started to use my travel, or made the purpose of my travel to better understand the world and the lives of other people, I found out something very significant. Whilst there may be aspects of my life that are inspiring to people, in its entirety, it's not necessarily aspirational, and there's a big difference. Let me flip it on its head for you. I'm almost 30. I've got no husband, no children, no real home of my own, no real career to my name. So I ask you, in Indian society, are all of these things aspirational? Many people have actually told me that I'm a loser because I don't have these things. So what then is freedom, and what does it mean to different people? And why is it even important? These are the things that I really started to ask myself. You could argue that fundamentally, yes, everybody wants to live without the interference of other people in their lives. And that would be correct, I guess. But that didn't satisfy me. I wanted to know about individual lives and what personally freedom meant for them. So with these questions leading the way, I started a storytelling project called Women in Freedom. And the idea was very simple, that I would travel and I would ask women, what does freedom mean to you? So many amazing stories have come out of this, and I would really love to share some with you today. So this is Menaka, and freedom for her is the leeway to make mistakes of her own and to take responsibility for them. Menaka was at her professional peak working as a financial analyst in Bangalore when she decided to quit, to move back to her home in Wayanad, Kerala, and to become a farmer. Now you can imagine better than me how her parents and the other villagers must have responded to this. Menaka told me stories about not being accepted, not being taken seriously, how her own relatives mocked her and treated her as if she was a child with some crazy idea. She told me how even the house help who had known her since she was a child, they just refused to even acknowledge her in this new role that she came back to assume. Despite all of these things, though, Menaka kept going, and now she runs a successful homestay where she has guests from all over the world coming to stay with her. She's also pioneering chemical-free farming in her village. For Minnie, she just wants people to accept that it's okay if she wants to have muscles. As a runner and a CrossFitter, fitness has been crucial to Minnie's empowerment as a woman living in India. But this hasn't stopped people from throwing petty comments about her appearance her way. She's called the Hulk, and a lady colleague in her office randomly said to her one day, "Abbas, that's enough." Again, this doesn't stop her from going to the gym every day to get fitter, to get stronger, and to share her journey of empowerment with other young women so that they too can find theirs. For Chantel, freedom is to not care about being accepted by society and to live fearlessly. In 2017, after many years of battling with anxiety, depression, unresolved emotional trauma, and just pressure to live up to society's expectations, Chantel found herself on the edge of a pier near her home in Essex in the UK, where she stood for 2 hours going over the idea of whether or not to jump in the sea and just let the waves wash her away. She told me that it was on the edge of that pier that she made the decision, I want to live. So she quit the job that she was doing, and she's now taking time out to work on her design portfolio to pursue her dreams of becoming an interior designer. I choose to share these stories because, to me, they all represent stories of courage, of hope, of ordinary women just living extraordinary lives in the pursuit of their aspirations. The stories also shed light on some of the everyday battles and challenges that they have to face just to live their idea of freedom. I met a housewife in Pune, 63 years old, and she told me that up until then, her life has been completely about her husband, her children. But now her husband is retired, all her children are living somewhere across the world, living their lives. Now she wants to live the life that she feels she missed out on, and that's what freedom means to her. So regardless of the society we grew up in, our circumstances, our age, we all have our own aspirations, and we all have the right to be able to work towards those things. I've met some women in rural areas who work so hard, freedom for them means staying at home while their husband goes out to work. I've also met women who want to pursue their own career and not worry about having a family. And I've met some women who want a mixture of both of these things. Now, I always thought of myself as a very open-minded person, and I thought that when you travel and you go to different countries and see different cultures, then you naturally become more accepting. But I think it requires a little bit more effort than that. It was only when I started to pursue the task of making the purpose of my travel about understanding people better, and not from my own experiences, my own assumptions, judgments, standards. Only then was it that I realized that real acceptance comes when you recognize and understand what it is that is important to people. The biggest learning that I've had from doing this project, is a simple one, but I feel it's a very important one. That freedom, it looks a little bit different to everybody. There are many paths to freedom, and it's not about picking one and getting everyone to try and go down the same one, but recognizing that there are many and they're all okay. Only once we do that can we really start to encourage each other and ourselves to live our ideas of freedom.